Hello everyone, welcome to the session on getting started with IoT on Arduino by Bolt IoT. My name is Shobit Kumar and I will be your host for this session. So let me quickly introduce myself. I am Shobit Kumar and I am currently working as Community Manager Intern at Bolt IoT. I am also a third year undergraduate from ECE at IIIT Nagpur. I am well versed in C, Python and many more such programming languages. So you can find me on LinkedIn, GitHub, and you can also contact me on my email ID that is shobit.kumar@boltit.com. So before starting this workshop, there are a few guidelines that I want to tell you people that kindly keep your audio and video on mute while you are on workshop. Okay. If you have any questions during the session, then you may note them down and then you can ask them at the end. We will have a question answer section at the end of this workshop. Don't worry about the recording of this session. This will be made available on the following link that is shown on the screen. And all the workshop resources, code, schematics, and all these resources will be provided to you at the end of the session. So let's start with the workshop. So in this session, we are going to see all these things. Like firstly, we will see a basic introduction to Arduino. Secondly, we will see what Bolduino is and how to get started with Bolduino. Third, we will see how you can control an LED using Arduino. Then we will see what DST sensor is, how it is used, and what is its purpose. And then we will make a project that is temperature and humidity monitoring system using Bolt IoT. We will push the data to the cloud and we will see it in our website. And then at the end, we will configure alert in our project. So as soon as temperature level is uh, above certain level, then it will send us email, push notification, and that's all. So this is all session content. So let's start with the session. So before starting, these are the hardware components that you will require for this session. That is very basic components like Bolt Wi-Fi module, LED, 330 ohm resistor. If you don't have it, no worries. Uh, Boltino. In my case, I will be using Boltino. You can use any of the Arduino boards and DST sensor. So these all are the components that we will be requiring for this workshop. And these are the tools that we will require. First one is Bolt Cloud. Second is Arduino IDE, in which we will write our code, as this workshop is totally based on Arduino. And there are a few couple of libraries. First one is Bolt IoT Arduino library, and second is DST sensor library. So these all things you will require as a part of software programming. So don't worry about it. What all are these? We'll be elaborating each and everything in this workshop. So let's start with a basic introduction to Arduino. So what Arduino is? So many people think Arduino is an Arduino Uno or maybe Arduino Nano, but what Arduino is hardware as well as software as well as open source community of developers. So Arduino has its own boards as well as it has its own software ID where you can code all these boards, and it has an open source community itself where you can put your projects, your queries, and each and everything. So that makes it as Arduino. So there are thousands of boards available in the market of Arduino, like Arduino Uno, Mega, Nano. So you must have heard of these boards. If you don't have heard, so don't worry. And it has an own software where you could code all these logics that we will be seeing for the project. So what makes Arduino so popular is its ease of use. So the coding part of Arduino is quite easy. It is very easy to understand. So it is quite popular for developers. So that was a quick basic introduction of Arduino. Now we will see like about a particular board. So the board that is shown here is Arduino Uno. So this is the very popular board of Arduino used by the developers. So Arduino Uno is a microcontroller board. It is based on ATmega 328P chip. So the chip that is shown here is the brain of this Arduino. So this is the most popular Arduino board used in the market. So it has some sort of digital pins, it has some analog pins, and it has some power pins too. So we will see each and every pins, what are these pins and what are its significance in the later on slides. So this is the very popular board that is used. Like most of the people have this board as on their starter kit. So now we will see the basics of Arduino, like what these pins are, how they are used, and what is their purpose. So this is how an Arduino Uno board looks like. I have chosen Arduino Uno because it is very easy to understand. So I will be using this to explain to you the basic architecture of Arduino Uno board. It is same for almost Arduino boards. Is my voice audible? Okay, Suresh, you can check your internet connection. Maybe your internet connection is weak. Okay, so now, so this is how an Arduino Uno looks like. So there are multiple pins available on Arduino. So the pins from 0 to 13 are known as digital pins. So these digital pins are used to connect LEDs, relays, and output device that we have. So, many of you must be aware of digital and analog signals. So if you don't know, let me quickly brief you. So there are two types of signals available. One is digital signal and one is analog signal. So analog signal are continuous signals, and digital signals are discrete signals actually. So in case of digital signals, it can have peak values. Either it is high or it is low in case of Arduino. But in case of analog signal, it can have any value in the range. So let me explain you just a minute. Okay, so you are able to see my whiteboard, right? So let me give you an example of digital signal. So this is how a digital signal look like, and this is how an analog signal look like. So suppose its value is 1, okay, and suppose this value is -1. So for digital signal, you will only have either 1 or either -1. It depends. If it would be a -2, then it would have only two values. Either it is 1 or it is -2. So for digital signal, you will not have any values in between. But in case of analog signal, you will have values in between. Suppose it is 5 and this is -3 itself. So you will have values between 5 to -3. Like it may be -1 also, it may be -2 also, it may be 1, it may be 1.1. So it can have any values in the range. So this is the basic difference between analog and digital signal. I hope you will be able to understand it. So this is the very basic explanation of this thing. So now let us continue to our basics of Arduino. So in digital pins, we generally connect LEDs, relays, etc. So you can take an example of your fan at your house. So if there is a switch for the fan, either you can turn it on or either you can turn it off. So basically that thing replicates the system of digital pins itself. Either they can turn the LEDs on or they can turn off the LEDs. So that's how digital pins are required. If you can observe, there are certain like curvish icon available besides some numbers. So these are PMW pins. So these are special pins in which you can control the voltage level. If you want 50% voltage level should be transmitted, then it will only transmit 50% voltage level. So this is used to control the intensity of LED. So these are the basic like information about PMW pins. So you don't need to worry much about it. So this IC type of thing is ATmega 328P. So the whole Arduino Uno is controlled using this IC itself. So this is the brain of this board, ATmega 328P. So all the procedure that needs to be done is being handled by this IC itself. And you can see that there are analog pins available here. So mostly sensors are connected to analog pins. Let me give you an example of temperature sensor. So in case of temperature sensor, temperature can be anything like 25 degrees Celsius, 26 degrees Celsius, or 28, or whatever it is. It can't have peak values like either it is 0 or it is 100 degrees Celsius. So it will have values in between. So that's why analog pins are used. So it can have like it can read output from 0 to 1023. So this is the range of analog pins. So like once you will get an idea of sensor, you will like more relate to the things, and these pins like V, 5 volt, 3.3 volt, reset, all these pins are power pins. Like uh, everything requires some power to work on. Like if you are turning on fan, so it will require electricity. So for working of sensor, they require some voltage. So that voltage is given using these power pins itself. Now the question arises is how this board gets the power. So there are two different ways to give power to this board. Either you can connect USB, as well as there is a power jack available. So you can use any of the external supply that you have for this purpose. Okay, so like this USB is also used to upload the program. Like if you want, if I want to write a program and upload it, so I will connect USB through this like connector, and then I will upload the program. So whatever logic we will write, we will upload it using USB. And this is power jack. Like every time we don't need to upload the program. Once the program is uploaded, it is stored in the board. So you can give like power to any other source itself. You can either connect your charger or using 9 volt batteries or whatever it is. You can give it power to like external supply. So this is the basic architecture of almost all Arduino boards. Like if it is mega, then there are number of pins are high. Okay, uh, so number of pins are greater than like in this board. If you see Arduino Nano, then there will be less number of pins available. So like basic architecture is same, the work is same. The only difference is the structure of the boards that is available. So I hope you got the basic idea of Arduino, like what these pins are and whatever it is. So let us move ahead with the session. So for working of anything, we need to require to like add some code to this board. So like in case of C programming, you must listen like it is a C code. For Python, it is Python code. For Java, it is Java code. Similarly, in case of Arduino programs, it is known as Sketch. So whatever program is being written, it is called as Sketch. So there is a fixed architecture of Sketch. Like it have two functions by default written. If you will open the Arduino IDE itself, you will see these two functions. So there is a significance of these two functions, right? So in void setup, whatever thing is written, it runs only once. Like as soon as the device will get power, it will only run once until and unless it is powered off and powered on again. But in void loop, whatever code you will write, it will run continuously. Suppose if I have written the code of blinking LED, so it will blink until and unless I will turn off the power supply of the board. So this is the basic architecture of Arduino Sketch. We will learn the coding of Arduino in further slides. So as of now, what you need to learn is like there are two different functions available in a Sketch. One is void setup and one is void loop. So whatever thing is written in void setup, it will only run once, and whatever thing is written in void loop, it will run until and unless your device will have power. So like let me give an example. Like if I want to turn on an LED, so it should be turned on until and unless like I specifically want to turn it off, right? So in void setup, what I will tell is there is an LED. So that thing needs to be written in setup part itself. Like I don't need to tell the board again and again that it is LED, it is LED, it is LED. If I will tell it once, it will automatically understand that there is an LED connected. In void loop, what I will do is I will say that turn on the light or blink the light. So it should blink until and unless I turn off the power. So for void loop, it will automatically understand that I have to repeat the tasks. So this is the basic difference between void setup and void loop. I hope you get it. If you have any questions, you can write. Uh, like I tried my best to be as slow as possible. Even if you are not understanding, you can write in chat box. If it is okay, then we can move ahead. Okay, then I hope you are getting it. So now we will learn about the coding part of Sketch. Like there are some syntaxes available to perform certain tasks. So we will learn all those basic functions of an Arduino coding itself. So let me ask you a very basic question. You must be aware of C programming or C++ or Python. So I have a question for you. What is scanf or what is printf? Or in case of C++, it is C in or C out. Or in
Sorry,
Python, you can assume it as print statement. So what are these functions? Would you please write it on chat, or you can unmute if there is no background noise.
sorry, can I use a Java util package for a user command?
Yeah. So what are these functions? Like for what purpose they are used for?
So we want to give a command system. We can there we can use the scanner class.
Yeah. Rakesh is saying input and output. Yeah, something like that. Scanf is used to
Get the output.
yeah, read output and print it. So I have a very basic question. How do you know it? Like, how do you know that printf will do this thing or scanf will do this thing?
It is already
So
described in the library function.
Yeah, correct. So the developers of any programming language write the documentation and have a certain formats, and they have defined certain functions that will do that certain task, right? So similarly, in case of Arduino, the developers of Arduino had defined certain functions which will do certain tasks. So very basic functions are available in this slice, that are digital write, digital read, analog read, and delay. So these are available in documentation of Arduino itself. If you want to know more about it, you can always visit Arduino documentation and read about it. But in this session, I will just teach all these functions itself, because these are the most basic functions itself, and there are thousands of functions available. And if we talk about libraries, then there are thousands, and I guess it is millions of libraries available currently for Arduino. So I will tell you these basic functions and what are these used. For before going into functions part, let me tell you two different syntaxes. One is high and one is low. So in case of Arduino programming, high is considered as maximum voltage level, and low is considered as no voltage level. You can assume it as your switch available at your home. If you will turn on the switch, it will turn on the bulb. If you turn off the switch, it will turn off the bulb. So the turning off the switch is considered as low, and turning on the switch is considered as high. Or you can also write it as one. Like high or one are same thing in the Arduino coding. Either you can write high or one. That means it is maximum voltage. Like if you have connected it to digital pin, it will give you output at max that it can give. Suppose it is giving 5 volts, so it will directly supply the 5 volt. And if you will write low or zero, that means it will cut the power supply, and it will ask the application to stop, whether it is LED, buzzer, or whatever it is. So this is the significance of high and low in Arduino Sketch. Either you can write high or one. We will see its application. Just a minute. Okay, fine now. So now we will learn what all these functions are. So I have earlier told you that there are certain pins available. You can see here, like there were multiple pins available here. One was digital pin and one was analog pin. So there are two different functions to control all these pins. For analog pins, it is analog function, and for digital pins, it is digital function. And according to purpose, it will show you the output. So the very first function is digital write. The syntax for this function is digital write bracket pin comma value. So you have to define the pin number. Like you have seen that there were multiple pins from 0 to 13. So you have to decide, like tell the code that on which pin your device was connected, because it can't understand automatically that something is connected to it. So you have to explicitly tell the device that something is connected to pin number 1 and turn it on or turn it off, because it doesn't understand whether this is an LED or what. So whenever you want to turn on or turn off something, you can use digital write function. Whenever you want to read the state, like in some case, if I want to know like whether my light is on or off, then I can use digital read function. It will give me high or low. Like if it is high, that means it is turned on, and if it is low, that means it is turned off. So this is the basic application of digital write and digital read function. Similarly, if I want to change pin value of analog pins from A0 to A5, then I can use analog write. I will specify the pin, whether it is A1 or whatever it is, and what is the value. Suppose I want to give 500 as value. So it will transmit 500 value for me, right? So device will perform accordingly. An analog read is used to read the value of sensor. Like suppose it is a temperature sensor, so it will give me values like 28 degrees Celsius, 29 degrees Celsius. So when I will call the analog read function, it will give me output from the sensor, and it converts, like it has a mechanism of analog to digital converter, and then it tells us the value whether it is 28 degrees Celsius or whatever it is. In case of photoregister, you can assume it as 500, 300, 600 up to 1023. And for some applications, we require to give some delay. Like you must be aware that hardware can't be instantaneous, right? You will require, they need some processing time. So to avoid like malfunctioning in your device, we use delay, so that next task is performed after some interval. So they don't get merged and our device will crash. So to avoid these type of errors, we just use delay function. So I hope you are able to understand what all these functions are. This is similar to printf or whatever you call it. It's C in, C out, or you can assume it as print in Java, whatever language it is. So these functions are exactly similar to this itself. If I want to turn it on, I have to use this syntax. If I have to turn it off, then I have to use these type of syntaxes. If I have to read it, then I have to like use these type of syntaxes. So this is all about a basic introduction about the syntaxes of Sketch. Now we will see what Boldvino is. So instead of Arduino, I will be using Boldvino. So Boldvino is Bolt IoT's own tag for Arduino Uno. So it is a modified version of Arduino Uno. So what makes it is unique is it have certain feature which make it different from Arduino Uno. So like what happens is, as I have earlier told you, that Arduino is an open source community where they had put each and everything in open source. So like designs are like available for everyone. So engineers at Bolt has redesigned this like design and created their own hardware that is known as Boldvino. It is just a copy of Arduino Uno itself with additional features. So what additional features it has is, it has an inbuilt like internet connectivity. You can give you can just plug your Wi-Fi module on it and it will be internet enabled. Secondly, it have a feature of OTA update. So what this OTA update is, without even connecting wires over Wi-Fi, you can transmit your code. So it is something like of magic thing, like your device is at somewhere else. Even if you can upload code to your device via air, but in case of Arduino Uno, you will have to connect the wire to laptop and then you have to transmit the code to it. So that feature will be live soon. Currently, it is in testing phase and like it will be soon made live, I guess. So this make it different. So I will be using Arduino. You can also use Arduino Uno or whatever Arduino board you have, whether it is Arduino Nano or Mega or whatever board variant you have, you can use that. But I will be using Arduino because it is easy to use for me. So like it is easily connected to Bolt Cloud. So like it is very easier for me to upload the code to Arduino and connect it to Bolt Cloud. So I don't need any additional wiring and all these things. So I will simply use Arduino for this workshop. You can use any of your Arduino code. It is like the codes will be applicable for any of the Arduino boards. So let's move to our first project, that is controlling LED using Arduino. So for beginners, it is very basic like project that they need to build to get the concepts of Arduino, right? So this is how you can connect an LED to any of the Arduino boards. Okay, so like the longer leg of LED is always connected to digital pin and the shorter leg is always connected to ground, whether it is in any of the boards. So I have my Arduino with me. I hope you are able to see it, right? So I have all these components with me and I will make the connections of LED very quickly. You can use like if you want, you can use resistance, but in my case, I will be using it for shorter time. So I will make the connections according to it for Arduino, right? So this is my Arduino. This is how it looks like. So we will straight away move to Arduino editor to see like how we can write the code. So this is how hardware connection look like. So let me quickly switch to Arduino. I hope you are able to see it. Are you able to see my code?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So you can download Arduino IDE. So let me show you where you can download. So you can go on Google and search for Arduino IDE, and you can download it, like download the Arduino software, because we will require this software to upload the code. And you can download the IDE from here according to your PC, whether it is your Windows, Linux, or Mac OS. So you can download it from here. Once you download it and open it, you will like see the interface like this. So it should look like this. Once you start the Arduino, as I have earlier told you, it will have two functions. So whatever you will write in this, like it will run only once and it will run on repeatedly. So I will show you how to write code for turning on an LED, right? So for turning on an LED, we will require that first we need to tell the board that in this pin LED is connected. Secondly, I have to tell that turn this LED, turn on this LED, right? So for that purpose, in void setup, firstly, I will define that there is an LED connected. So you must be aware of input and output devices. Kindly mute yourself. So you must be aware of like input and output devices. So LED is an output device, right? So there is a function available for this purpose to define any of the device, that is pin mode. So this is the function that is used to define any of the devices, whether it is input device or it is output device. So you can use this function. In my case, I am connecting it to pin number 13. You can connect it to any of the pin 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And my device is input device. Okay. So I had written it. My pin number is 13. And for LED, it should be output. If you are connecting any sensor, just a minute, what is this? Okay, so if you are connecting any sensor, you can write here as input, and if you are connecting any output device, you can write as an output. So for LED, I will write it as 13 comma output. So what does this line means is there is something connected at pin number 13 and which is output device. And in loop, what I will say is earlier I have told you a function name is digital write. So I will use digital write function to turn it on. So now to turn it on, there are two options. Either you can write it as high or you can write it as 1. It will assume both the condition to be turned on, right? So like there is something connected to pin number 13 and what I need to do is I need to turn it on. So I will make it as high. So this is the very basic code to turn on any of the LED. There are two lines that we have written. For the first line, we have written that there is something connected at pin number 13 and it is an output device. And what I am instructing it to do is make it as high, that means turn it as on. So I will connect my Arduino and I will make the hardware connections. So this is my LED. I hope you are able to see my Arduino. I am connecting LED to my pin number 13. So I have connected the LED to pin number 13. And now I will connect the Arduino via USB to my cable, like laptop, so that I can upload the code, because the cable is the only way from where you will be able to upload the code in any of the Arduino board. So let me just connect the cable and then we can upload the code to this board. And then this code will just turn on the LED automatically. So I have connected the USB. So to upload the code, okay. So to upload the code, what you need to do is you have to select and correct COM port, right? So there are multiple COM ports available in any PC, like whether it is used for printer or whatever it is. So here the blue light states that Arduino is turned on. So don't worry, it will glow until and unless your device is powered. This is different from this LED. This is an indicator light for Arduinos that it is on, right? So to upload the code, you need to select correct COM port. So when you will click on tools, you will see an option of port. So currently I have only one port. So I have told that on COM7, there is an Arduino Uno connected. It will treat it as Arduino Uno itself because it is a clone copy of Arduino Uno. Then I will select, once you select the correct port, there is an option of upload. I guess you are able to see here. There is an option of upload. So right away click on upload button and this code will be like uploaded into this board and it will perform the task accordingly. So keep an eye on camera. You will able to see this. So currently you can see that like code is being uploaded. Once it is uploaded, you will be able to see that LED has been turned on. So let's wait. Now you can see that that orange LED has glowed because that's what we have written in the code. That turn on the LED. Now to turn off, to turn on the LED, we have written the code. Now we will write the code to turn off the LED, right? So for that purpose, what you can do is, let me share my screen again. Instead of high, you can write it as low. Or maybe you can directly write it as 0. Earlier, I have told you that either you can write low or 0. So I will write 0 this time. Let's test this thing also. So I will upload the code. So my code has been uploaded and now you can observe that this LED has been turned off. So this is the basic code to turn on and turn off the LED. So like now we will try to blink this LED. So can anybody tell how to blink this LED? Do you have something in mind, like any logic that you can implement to blink this LED?
We'll make a for loop.
It is already in loop.
Okay. Otherwise, we will put the timer.
using delay function. Yeah,
Using
but
delay
like what
function.
we will do exactly? Like I
This the
want
right.
basic logic for it.
First one we have to high, and second one we have to put low. In between using delay.
Yeah, so like a basic idea for blinking LED is for some time, right? It should turn on. For some moment, it should turn off. For some moment, it should turn on again. And that's how a blinking effect will be created. So this is the basic logic that you need to think before blinking LED. So like the developers of Arduino has already given many examples like how do I know that how can I blink the LED. So when you will click on file, there will be an option of examples. Here you can see thousands of examples available according to your libraries. You can see there are basic examples available. When you will click on blink, you will see an predefined code for blink. I hope it is visible. So they had already written the code for us. So this is how the code looks for blink LED. So the logic is very simple. They had turned on the LED. After 1 second, they had turned it off again. Then after 1 second, it turns on again. Because this thing is in loop, it will run again and again. Now, what this 1000 means is whatever parameter does it accept is in form of millisecond. So you have to convert it in. So if you want 1 second, you have to write 1000. If you want 5 seconds, you have to write 5000. If you want to write 15 seconds, you have to write 15,000 because delay function only takes input in form of milliseconds. So you have to write it in conversion, right? So this is a very basic code. What they let me remove the unwanted stuff. Like this is not unwanted, but yeah, for this session, I am removing all those statements that are available. So this is the very basic code to blink an LED. So what they have done is they had turned on the LED for some time. After 1 second, it is asking to turn it off. After 1 second, it is asking to again turn it on. So this is how you can turn like create an blinking effect. Now here there is an option of LED built-in. So like every board has a built-in LED. Like if you are able to see my Arduino, so there is a built-in LED here. So as of now, I had plugged off my LED and I will be using inbuilt LED. So for Arduino Uno, it is on pin number 30. So it automatically detects like which board it is and where it is blink like built-in LED is available. So in case of Arduino itself, it is on 13 itself, so it will automatically detect. So I have chosen the correct board. So like you have to choose the correct board. It is like in my case, it is Arduino Uno itself because it is copy of Arduino Uno itself. And I have selected the correct port. Now I will right away click on hit on upload button. And let's see like if blinking occurs or not. So I hope you are able to see it. Like if you see the camera, then you can see that there is an orange light blinking. So these boards has inbuilt LED too. If you don't have LED, you can use this inbuilt LED too. So it is blinking currently at an interval of 1 second. Even if I connect external LED, it will blink this LED. Let me connect it just a minute. So now you can see that this LED is also blinking because this internal LED is internally connected using pin number 30. Okay, I hope you get the concept of blinking LED. So there is an inbuilt LED present in the board. So you don't need an external LED for testing purpose. So this is what this is how you can create a blinking effect. You can change the time to 500 milliseconds itself, so it will blink very fastly. So you can try it like at your own time, play with all those steps to get started with Arduino. So this is the very basic code I need to understand for like creating an Arduino project. So now we will move ahead with our session and we will make our next project. So this was a basic idea to get started with Arduino coding itself. But now we will see how we can use sensors and all using Arduino, and we will create a real-time project. So let's see it. Let me share my screen again. So don't worry about it. You can rewatch it if you have not understood it. As of now, let me share my slides again. So these were the hardware connections, and we have seen the Arduino sketch for turning on LED. Basically, this was very basic code. And for blinking an LED, we have seen this thing, right? For some second it should be turned on, and for some second it should be turned off. So this is how you can play with LEDs. Now we will play with DST sensor. So like if you are not aware of DST sensor, so let me quickly introduce you. So DST sensor is used to measure humidity and temperature of your area, like for your room or whatever application you want to use it for. So DST has its many variants. It is DST11, DST22. So you can use any of the sensor. The basic difference between DST11 and DST22 will be DST22 is more accurate, right? So it will give you more accurate readings. So there will be less errors. So that's why people use DST22 and DST21. You can use any of the DST sensors. So it is based on like capacity, humidity, and it is based on concept of capacity, humidity sensor, and thermoresistor. So that's internal concept of this DST sensor. For as of now, you need to keep in mind that it is used to like measure temperature and humidity levels. So we will be using it in our project. Okay, so we will be writing code for temperature and humidity monitoring system using code. So what we are going to do is we will be creating a project that will like show the data, current data of temperature and humidity of my room on website. And if the temperature is greater than or lower than certain level, it should send me an alert. So this is the motto for this project, and the connections are very simple for this project. So and DST sensor has 3 pins. One is VCC, second one is out, and third one is ground. So positive terminal will be connected to 5 volt. Okay, negative terminal will be connected to ground, and the out pin will be connected to any of the digital pins. So in my case, I will be choosing 2 second-number pin. I have randomly selected any pin. Even if you want to connect it to pin number 5, you can connect it to pin number 5. So let me quickly do the connections of DST sensor. I hope you are able to see it. So I will be doing connections of DST sensor. So this is how DST sensors look like. So you can see that it is a very tiny sensor, not very much big. So this is how DST sensor look like, and I will make the connection according to this schematic. Even if you have DST11, the schematic is same, the connections are same, and on sensors you will also find it is already written which pin to connect where, whether it is positive pin or negative pin. So let me quickly do the connections of Arduino so that we can proceed with our project. Even you can do it at your end. If you have this hardware with you, you can do along with me. So I have connected the sensor. If you have any Arduino board, so you will have to make connections like this. So you can take reference of this. In my case, I have Arduino, so I will be using Arduino. If you have any other boards, you can go ahead with it. I have attached the schematic part. So once you are done, let me know. Like if anyone is interested to do along, then let me know. In my case, connections are ready. I'm good to go with my project. We will wait for people to connect their sensors because it may require some time for them, and then we will proceed with the project. So I have connected the project. I think this is it a sensor, but why are we not connecting it to analog pin? Yeah, you can connect it to analog pin, but as I have told you, you can even read the digital outputs also. Like you can control the intensity of LED from 0 to 255 itself. So it is not like that. For this sensor, you can even connect it to digital pin also. These are PWM pins. Okay, and the calculations will be done using library itself. Actually, the a sensor can't tell anything by on that it is 28 degrees Celsius. What happens is, uh, like this sensor changes according to voltage levels and current. So in these sensors, current and like voltages change internally, and what libraries do is they calculate internally and show us the output. But sensor just from sensors, there are certain fluctuations of voltage level according to environment. If it is a temperature sensor, so that voltage will vary according to temperature. So that's how we are able to get the data. I hope you are able to understand. Like sensor will not tell that it is 28 degrees Celsius directly. There are some processes internally going for any library. So I hope you are able to see my Boldrino. So I have connected this DST sensor as according to the diagram. So the benefit of Boldrino is I only need 3 wires. That's it. For Wi-Fi connectivity, I don't need to connect all these stuff. So that's why I'm using Boldrino. These are the hardware connections. So now we will see like how we can make this project. So I hope you are able to see my sketch, right? This is sketch that we have used for turning on and turning off this LED. So for this sensor, you will require 2 libraries. First one is Bolt IoT library. Second one is DST sensor library. So for Bolt IoT library, you can download it using the link that I have given to you. To add this library, you have to go to like sketch, then click on include library and click on add.zip library. Once you will see, you have to locate where are all these files. Like in my case, Bolt IT library is here. Once you will click on open, it will install automatically. In my case, it is already exists, so it is giving me warning. To install any of the libraries, the process is simple. You can go to tools, okay, sketch, then click on include library and then click on add.zip library. In my case, I have both the libraries with me, so I don't need to worry about it. So for DST library, they have given certain examples. So when I scroll down, I have a library named as DST sensor library, right? So they have certain examples. So this is the example that they have. Okay, so like before proceeding with any sensor or project, so like keep a habit of visiting documentation. So in my case, like I had visited sample examples that they had given. So when I looked into code, then I came to know that they had defined the library. They had defined the pin from where it is connected, right? They had defined the sensor. Then at bottom, what they had done is like they had started the sensor, okay, and then they are reading these values. Once they read these values, they are printing it. So similar case, I will do it. What I will do is I will take the data from sensor and push it to cloud, Bolt cloud, so that values are displayed on the Bolt cloud. So this is what I will do. And now what I will do is, and there is an example for Bolt IT library itself, how you can push the data. So you can see that for Bolt IT library, there is an example available for push data. So when I will click on push data, like this is the example that they have given, that you have to define the API key. You have to define the device ID, and whatever parameter you have to push, you have to provide it to this function. So from here, I was able to understand that, okay, I have to do this thing. I have to take the data from sensor and I have to push it to cloud. So this is how you can proceed from any of the project. So keep a habit of visiting documentation in all. So this will help you to a lot to create many projects. So like, because a creator can only tell what they have created. We have to read it somewhere. Like for printf, we have to know like printf will do this. So what I have done is I have prepared a very basic code for temperature and humidity sensor. Let me quickly open it for you so that it will not consume much time for us. So what I have done is I have merged these both codes. Once I will explain you, you will be able to understand it more clearly. So like, I hope my code is visible, right? Are you able to see this code? Yeah, okay, fine. So as you can see that I have used library, Bolt IT library and DST sensor library. Okay, I will use, since this sensor is of Adafruit, so I have used Adafruit library. So this library I have defined, like I want to use this library. So the download link for all the libraries is available here. Now I have defined API key and device ID, and I have defined where my DST pin is connected. So my DST pin is connected to GPIO2, pin number 2. Okay, so I have defined all these things. Okay, I have defined which sensor I am using. If it is DST11, DST22, or DST21, it is already written that whichever sensor you write, just uncomment it. If I want to use DST11 sensor, then I will comment it and uncomment this. So because readings are different, so library will do calculation according to your sensor. In my case, I will be using DST22, so I have uncommented it, right? So this is the function to initialize the DST sensor functions, right? In void setup, I have told that, okay, begin the communication with Bolt IT server. Okay. At pin number 2, something is connected and it is input device. Okay. And turn on my DST sensor too. So what I have done is turn on the connection with Bolt Cloud, defined the sensor and turned it on. Right. In loop, what I'm doing is I'm waiting for some seconds so that sensor takes some time to read the values, right? So I'm waiting for 500 milliseconds. Generally, 2 seconds are recommended, but in my case, 500 is okay. So like use 2000 if your sensor is not that much good in quality. In my case, it is of good quality, so I am using 500 milliseconds. Here I am reading humidity data and storing it in variable. You must be aware of int x, int y, float x, float y. So whatever reading is coming through sensor, I am storing it in humidity variable. Whatever value is coming from DST sensor of temperature, I am storing it in temperature variable. So where do I know that I have to use this? So I have read the documentation of this library. So when I went to documentation, an example of this library, I came to know that yeah, this is how you have to read the temperature. And from the Bolt IT documentation, I came to know that, yeah, this is the command to push the data to cloud because we want to see it in our Bolt cloud, right? So this is the code that we will require. Now we will quickly switch to Bolt cloud. Let me quickly open my cloud. Let me sign in. So I have signed in with my account. So you must, if you are a part of any of the Bolt IT trainings, so you must be aware that for creating a project, you need to click on products. You have to create a new project. I will create a new project. I will give it as name as, yeah, DST, I guess it is DST22 Bolduino system. Yeah, so this is the name that is fine to me. I will upload an image. Let's see if I have an image. Yeah, I have an image. I have connected input devices and I want to collect the data from other board. For that purpose, I will use UART. So if you want to communicate with other sensor through like TXRX pins, so there are TXRX pins also available. So you can read it on documentation of Bolt IoT itself. So I will be using UART as my communication. If you have visited that IoT and ML training, so you must be aware what UART is. So it is already explained in the training. So I will be using UART for my purpose. And as soon as I click on done, okay, so it is saying that your name must be, okay. So I have created my project. So I will right away click on configuration and first I will define the hardware. So now, like if you will look the code, we have two data. One is temperature data and one is humidity data. So I will click on temperature data, like we have two data. So I will click on two data, right? Duration I want is 30 seconds. So every 30 seconds, it will take the data from my sensor and display on my website. So here I have to define the variable name. As you can see that in my code, at very first, I am giving temperature as input, and on second time I am giving humidity. So I will create the variables accordingly. First one is temperature. Okay, and second one is humidity, right? So I had click on temperature and humidity. I will save the hardware configuration. Like the Arduino board will send the data to cloud. Now I will plot the graph. So for plotting the graph, I will save it as JavaScript file. So in the feature of Bolt Cloud is like you can quickly import the code, whichever graph you want to plot, you can quickly import the code, like whether it is bar graph, gauge graph. But in our case, I want two graphs, right? One for humidity and one for temperature. So how do I do that? So the very simplest answer is to visit Bolt IT documentation. So this is the Bolt IT documentation. Everything is written here about everything. So when I will scroll down, they have given the syntax of multiple graph. Yeah, here it is. So they have illustrated the way how you can use two graphs in your project. So you can see that there is a sample example. Okay. So what I will do is I will copy it and paste it on my interface. So this is my first graph. Okay. That is line graph. So I will make it as line graph 1. So I will change line graph to 1, 1, and 1. And below will be line graph 2. So one will be for humidity and one will be for temperature. So I will just modify everything in the code. So like it is quite easy. If you will see the code, you will be able to understand it. If you have visited the training, then you will be able to understand it. The graph type will be line graph only. I want both graph to be line graph. And variables are, one is temperature and one is humidity. So what I will do is I will quickly paste it. I will save the code. Let me turn on my Bolt device too. So let me plug in the Bolt device. Let me give it an power. Save it. I have already saved it. I will link it to my device. Okay, so it is offline. But before that, I need to upload that Arduino code to my board. So I have to upload this Arduino code. So I have clicked on upload button so that this code is on board. Oh, just a minute. It got disconnected. Now I guess it will be fine. So now you can see that my code is uploading. Yeah, it has uploaded now. So I'm good to go. So you are able to see my device, right? Are you able to see my Bolduino? Is it not visible? You can see that currently my device is online and it should show me the data, right? So when I click on device, you can see that it is showing one data count. Currently temperature is 31 degrees Celsius and humidity at my room is 48.5. So it will at every 30 seconds, it will push data to cloud. If I manually click on push data to cloud, you can see my second data. So it has fetched the data from sensor and it is showing me on cloud. So you will see that there will be two data that you are able to see now. It is taking time to load due to internet connection. Yeah, you can see that there are two data now. One is 31.3, 31.3. Temperature is same, but humidity has been decreased by 0.4. So it will continue like up. Like everyone can see this thing on cloud if I share it to you people. So you will be able to see it. You just need to click on share and you can share your device with anyone, right? So this is the like good feature for Bolt Cloud, where you can share your device with anyone and anyone can see using the website that is given here. This. So this was all about temperature and humidity alert project. This is how you can configure Bolt Cloud. So I have also added installation steps for Bolt Arduino library. These are the project resources. Here you can download the library. From here you can download the DST library. And from here you can find all the project codes. So don't worry about it. I will share each and everything with you. So now we will set an alert in our project. What if I want that it should alert me, right? So there are two type of alert available on Bolt Cloud. So before that, we will see the logic for alert. So what I want is, it will read the temperature and humidity of my house. What I want is, as soon as it is greater than 30 degrees Celsius, it should send me an email, right? That's what I want. So there are certain pharmaceutical companies where they can't have too much heat in their stock. So in my case, I want it to be 30 degrees Celsius. So let's assume that whenever temperature goes above 30 degrees Celsius, I want an alert. So there are two types of alert available in Bolt Cloud. One is via push notification and second is via email alert. So I will demonstrate you how you can create an alert on your Bolt Cloud. So to set up an alert, there is an option of devices, and below this you will see an alerts option. So when you will click on it, you will get an option of add new alert. So I will click on it. What this is for, so it is for my workshop project. So what I want is whenever my data, so what my data is, first data was temperature data, which was on CSV 0. How do I know it? Even if I show you, like, let me open another tab too. Just a minute. So like, how do I know? When you will click on product, when you will click on configuration, you will see that at CSV 0, my temperature data is there, right? So here, what I was doing, if my CSV value is greater than 30 degree, so what it should do is push notification on Android. It will send a push notification on Android, but I won't email. It is only available for Pro, but no worries. So I want it as soon as my temperature is greater than 30 degrees Celsius, it should send me an email saying that, hi, your temperature is above 30 degrees Celsius. Please take relevant action. So this is what I want. Okay. And whom do I send this mail? I will send it to me itself. So I want to send this email to my email address itself. So once you are done with this, you can turn this alert on and click on save. So once you will click on save, it will send me an alert to my email. So let me show you my email. It should email me. So currently, let's see what is the temperature. It is 31.3 and it is greater than this. So it will, as soon as it will fetch the data, it will send me an email according to this alert. So sorry, I have not linked this alert. So I have to link it to device. So now this alert is linked. You can see. Now, as soon as the temperature is getting greater than 30 degrees Celsius, it will send me an alert. Let us try this out. Let us see what is the current temperature. So it is 31.3 degrees Celsius now, and it will send me an email soon. Let us check when it is arrived. Yeah, you can see that the alert email has been arrived to me. That CSV value of Bolt is 31.30. High temperature is about 30 degrees Celsius. Please take relevant actions. Bolt ID. So this is how you can get alerts for your project. So I will turn off. Like I will just unlink it from device and I will turn it off for now. So this is how you can configure alert for your Bolt Cloud. So it will, until and unless you turn it off, it will continuously send you alert. You can see that one more email arrived to me. It has the same message that hi, your temperature is about 30 degrees Celsius. So this is how you can configure alerts as Bolt Cloud. So there are two methods. One is push notification also. So you can send the push notification alerts. And yeah, so these are the important links for the session. I hope you like this session. If you have any questions, you can ask me now. If you have any questions, you can ask me now. Don't worry if you have not got anything, like every link will be available to you. Even you can import my project, you can clone my project. We have our new feature in Bolt Cloud. Whatever I will share, it will be directly reflected in your Bolt Cloud once you will import it. So don't worry about the links. All the project resources are available on this link. If you want to buy Boltino, you can buy using this link. It is only for people who have attended the workshop. It is for limited people itself who want to buy Boltino. You can buy it. There are no not much stock of Boltino, and you can take a screenshot of this QR if you miss the link in future. So if you have any questions, how can we perform this project without Boltino? Boltino is just an Arduino board. For this purpose, I have given you the connections, right? If you want to use any other board, you can use these connections. Even if you will visit the documentation of Bolt IoT, so let me show you. Everything is present in documentation. So how can I use it with Arduino? You can see that. So how to include the library, how to make the connections. There is a sample code too available here for every task. Even there is an animation also that I have shown to you, that you select the UR, ensure that all these 6 fields are there. All these things are even mentioned in the documentation also. I have used Boltino because it is easier for me to mount the Bolt device. I don't need to have these wirings, right? So to avoid these wirings, I have used Boltwin. So it is very easy for me. Like if you see the video, what I have to do is I have to simply plug in this board itself. That's it, as simple as that. And boom, you don't need to do any wirings, external wirings. whether the Bolt Cloud is free or on charge. It is many features are free, and if you want it for like heavy uses, then you may need to buy it for Pro. Like it is Pro plan for every cloud, because there is a cost for every request. It is free for normal usage if you are learning or whatever it is, but if you are using it in high usage, then you need to pay for it. But it is free for all basic uses. So like students of the training already know that they are using Bolt Cloud for free. Can you please share the recording? I have already told you that everything will be in this link. You will get the recording. Don't worry about it. You will see each and everything on these record. Like when you will click on this GitHub link, you will find each and everything, like the code that I have written, slides, schematics, library, even important links, like where you can find the recordings and all. So don't worry about it. Everything is available on this link, whether it is slides, whole codes, whatever you need to write on cloud itself, everything is written and mentioned here. So don't worry about it. If you have any questions, you can also post on forum. Like if you are trying it using recording and you are stuck anywhere, so you can put it on forum itself. So we have our Bolt forum. Let me show you that thing also. So we have our site as forum.boltit.com, where you can put your questions. So most probably you will get answer to your questions. You can see that there are thousands of questions asked by people. You can see that there are thousands of replies available. Okay, so like people from community and from Bolt IT team regularly answers these queries every day. So don't worry about it. If you have any question, you can put it on forum itself. Is there any limit on notifications from Bolt Cloud? For email, it is limited. For push notification, currently there are no limits. Can we set 2 alerts? You can even set thousands of alerts. Let me show you. Here is my, yeah, you can see that there are 2 types of alerts available for me. Even if I want 3 alerts, I will add a new alert. There is no limit on adding new alerts. Can I integrate other companies' IT devices to Bolt Cloud? Yeah, it is supported. Like even you can add your Raspberry Pi. Like when you will click on add a product, you will see an option like which board you want to use. Whether it is Raspberry Pi or it is Sonoff. Actually, I'm not aware of Sonoff, but you can integrate it using Bolt. Like you can use these connections using TXRX pins. This one. All you need, you will mandatorily require Bolt Wi-Fi module. If you have your Wi-Fi module, you can connect it using any of the boards, whether it is Arduino board, Sono board, or whatever it is. Maybe it is your Boldvino or whatever board you have. Even we have direct support for Raspberry Pi in our Bolt Cloud. You don't need these wirings also. For Raspberry Pi, you can directly connect it. What will be the process if I want to use push button instead of DST22 sensor? So what you know the connections of the like push button, right? So you can use digital read to read its value. Sonu Kumar, you can use digital read because a button will only give 2 values, either it is 1 or 0, either it is high or low. So as, you can define in code that as soon as click on that button, it should do something. So you can collect it using Boldvino. In similar way, we have connected the LED. You can even use push button here. All these things are available in documentation. Even you can Google like how can I connect push button to Arduino or Arduino board. It is easily available. Like there are thousands of people who had put their own project with documentation. It is very basic. Instead of LED, you will use push button. That's it. Replace this LED by push button. Any more questions? I am again repeating, every resources for this workshop will be available on this link. You can visit it anytime. This coding also, yeah, everything is available. Every code is available. Even if you want to clone my project, what you need to do is, I have provided a link, right? Okay, so copy this link, go to your Bolt Cloud, click on product, click on add new product, and simply click on import and paste the link. Once you will click on import, a product will be imported as it is. Even you don't need to code also. Like you can see that once you will click on configuration, I have already written the steps, things used in project, schematics to connect it, hardware is already done, even code is also done. Like even you don't need to write the code. Is Bolt Cloud have API for other web project? Yeah, it have API and the whole documentation is available on docs.boltit.com. There is an API section. There are different APIs for GPIO commands, UART commands. So for every purpose, you can find the syntax and response for each API available. So you can see that for digital write and there is an API available. So this is the syntax for this API. For UART commands, for every commands, like even you can fetch the data. Even you can fetch the previous data. Like if you want to fetch the data for like 1 month ago or like 1 year ago, even you can fetch data from these APIs. You can see that it can fetch all device APIs. So every response and example is available on documentation. Even this documentation link is also available here. You can see that. So I have put all resources, all the code in single repository so that you don't need to move here and there. Everything is available here. Even the slides are also available here. If you need them in future, you can always come here and check. Like you can see that these slides are also available. I am again sharing the link. So from here, you can find each and everything. Anything else? Any query or whatever, like if you want to ask anything. So this was all about Arduino and basics of Arduino. I hope you learned something new in this workshop. I tried my best to deliver the content to you people. So don't forget to fill the feedback form that you receive over email, and I would love to hear your responses. If you have any questions, you can ask as we can end this meeting. Thank you everyone for joining this session. It was a great time with you people. Can we push all information to our own website? Yes, you can do this, Sonu Kumar. We have a feature of embed the device. If you want to use API, you can use API to display on your website. If you don't want it, there is a feature. Let me show you that feature too. you can see that there is a feature where you can share. Let me click on it. Just a minute. Yeah. So when you will click on it, there is a share option. So there is an option of embed too. So you can embed this code on your website and it will display as it is on your website. You just need to copy this one line and paste it in your website code. And whatever graphs were displayed to me, it will be shown to your website. So within a single click, even you can embed these graphs in your own website. Even if you want to see my device, you can see my device, but I am disabling now. So everything is available on Bolt Cloud. We have like recently added feature of import export too. So you don't need to even write the code by own. I have already illustrated that you can import my code as it is from this link. This one. Anything else?
Thank you, Shobit, for the wonderful session. And